Is the microphone working? Can you hear me?
Yes. Just for recording.
It's just for recording. Okay. Now I will speak with my intensive voice and welcome you to this press conference. We are a few minutes late because we had a very thorough meeting now over the last 2.5 days, and I'm very glad that we also have someone here whom I would like to mention, particularly mention, because this all is actually a very much a private initiative supported by an Austrian NGO who has been engaged in Afghanistan over the past 40 years already. And we have Mr. Christian Reder, who with his small foundation has worked in Afghanistan and for Afghanistan on many projects, and he's now also supporting this conference here. This is the second conference. The first one was in mid-September, a 3-day conference, so-called intra-Afghan meeting of Afghan exiled opposition forces. And this year now is the second meeting, which will be concluded this evening. And the press conference here now, I would like to introduce the speakers who are here. It's on my left, Mr. Mashkur Kabuli. Mr. Mashkur Kabuli, who is here. Then next to him is Ms. Fafza Kofi. No, I'm sorry. Alia Ilmaz. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong column now. And then next to me is, of course, Mr. Ahmad Massoud. And to my right side is Mr. Hazard Ali. Mr. Ali, thank you very much for attending this press conference. And now I am giving the floor to Madam.
سلام و از حرمت دارم خدمت همه دوستانی که در اینجا تشریف دارن. البته خوشحال هستیم که در کنفرانس 3 روزه‌ای که در این شهر زیبای ویانا برگزار شد و روی بعض مسائل مهمی که صحبت شد مسائل مهمی که در این جلسه صحبت شد، البته یکی از اشدی‌ترین ضرورت جامعه امروز افغانستان است. همگی خبر دارن که وضعیت به شدت در افغانستان به یک کریز بشری تبدیل شده. به این خاطر ضرورت برای بود که این جلسه دایر شود و ما خوشحال هستیم که امروز در خدمت شما در این کنفرانس هستیم.
I would like to. Hello.
No, you have to speak up.
Sure. I would like to extend my greetings and extend my gratitude to everyone who is here today. We are delighted to be here in Vienna to attend the second round of the Vienna conference. We believe such a conference and platform is a necessity for Afghanistan's future.
البته در قدم اول این حرکات کلکتیفی که امروز در درون و بیرون از افغانستان صورت میگیره و یک انسجام جدی ضرورت داره و این کلکتیفی را که ایجاد شده در همچون جلسات میدانیم که تبادل افکار، تبادل نظریات بسیار زیاد اهمیت داره و گرد هم آمدن ها این فرصت برای ما مهیا میسازه تا روی از این مسائلی که امروز اهمیت حیاتی برای افغانستانی ها در بیرون و داخل افغانستان داره صحبت شده.
It is very much significant and important for us to come together today, and the most important thing that we've been doing, the most important matter is the exchange of views between the people of Afghanistan over our country's future.
من تشکر میکنم از تشریف همگی و اگر سوالاتی باشه در خدمت هستیم. به خاطر اینکه زمان فکر میکنم که محدود است، به خاطر با سوالات اگر پیش بریم. تشکر.
Once again, I would like to thank everyone. If there is any questions, we are here to answer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Massoud, please.
Thank you very much. Now maybe we need to shift all the microphones again to this way. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First and foremost, I would like to thank the people of Austria, the forum, Brunner Kreisky, and also the Institute for allowing and also for hosting such important initiative, which is trying to find a path, to trying to find a roadmap to future of Afghanistan, to Afghanistan that the people of Afghanistan truly deserve and they want. And also I'd like to pass my utmost greetings to all of you for being here. And as my colleagues they mentioned, it's very important to exchange views, to talk about the possibility of working together for finding a solution for future. It is the second round of talk. In the first round of talks, we had a very intense talking with very good results and declaration. And the second round, it was much better. Now there's a much more cohesive team with clarity and with clear vision and determination that we came up with a good roadmap for the future, that I hope that in near future we will be able to release much better and sweeter news to the people of Afghanistan and to the world. Also, I'm ready for any question and answers, and of course the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Massoud. Before we open the floor, I would like to ask Mr. Kabuli to speak.
Im Namen Allah, ich bedanke mich zum Ersten von unserer Regierung Österreich und ich bedanke mich im Namen unserer afghanischen Polen von AD Foundation, unserer Botschaft Vienna und Bruno Risky Haus und an alle. روند ویانا در وهله نخست بستر ظهور و نمایانگر ظهور خرد جمعی جامعه افغانستان است. در این بستر یک تلاشی ایجاد شده است، تلاشی ظهور کرده برای پیدا کردن نقشه راه که این نقشه راه برخواسته از عقلانیت انتقادی نخبگان عملگرای افغانستان است.
I would like to thank everyone for participating in today's presser, and it is a delight to be here, to be part of the Vienna process and the second round of the Vienna process. We are here based on our conventional wisdom to move forward in Afghanistan and to find a roadmap for the future of the country and viable solutions.
این نقشه راه مخرج مشترک خواهد بود برای حرکت سیاسی آگاهانه، واقع‌بینانه و عملی برای ملت افغانستان، برای عبور از بحران‌های مختلفی که افغانستان با مواجه شده. به ویژه یکی از بحران‌ها بحران حاکمیت آپارتاید وابستگرای طالبان بر سرنوشت ملت افغانستان.
We are here to discuss the roadmap, a roadmap that brings understanding, a roadmap that is viable in Afghanistan, a roadmap and a solution that can end this crisis, especially this apartheid that exists in Afghanistan.
در این روند صداهای متنوعی شنیده شد، طرح‌های مختلفی برای عبور از بحران عرضه شد و در این روند نماینده‌هایی از تمام واقعیت‌های افغانستان، از زنان پیشرو و مترقی، مجاهدین و مقاومتگران، روشنفکران و نخبگان علمی و از مذاهب رسمی افغانستان، شیعیان، اهل سنت، اقوام مختلف افغانستان، هزاره‌ها، تاجیک‌ها، پشتون‌ها، ازبک‌ها، قزلباش‌ها، سادات و دیوان سالاران و کارگزاران موفق دوره جمهوریت همه در این اجلاس، در این روند، در این پروسس حضور داشتن تا بتونن این نقشه راه را بر ملت افغانستان و بر جامعه جهانی عرض کنند. تشکر.
We are here today. We represent diverse views. We represent Afghanistan's diversity. There's people from different backgrounds across the spectrum, former government officials, opposition figures, and people from different ethnic groups, Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, and Uzbeks, to discuss Afghanistan's future in the second round of the Vienna process.
Thank you very much. I would like now to ask Mr. Ali Hazar.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. ما بسیار خوشحال هستیم که امروز در ویانا مشکلاتی که در افغانستان آمده، شما می‌دانید که نصف ملت افغانستان زیر چتر طالبان در افغانستان مثل یک اسیر زندگی می‌کنند. بسیار در افغانا از کشور مهاجر شدند. ما که امروز اینجا در جلسه ویانا که 3 روز شد آمدیم، خاطر برنامه‌ای که آینده یک برنامه خاطر نجات افغانستان که پیشی در افغانستان پیش آمده، مردم خودش سرگردان هستند. امیدوار هستم که کل افغانای بزرگای کشور این چیزا دوام پیدا بکنه تا بتانیم که افغانستان کشور خود از این حالات باید نجات بده.
I would like to thank everyone who's here today. We are here today because of the bleak situation in Afghanistan, especially more than 50% of the country being oppressed and facing oppression, and at the same time to gather and to find ways and solutions to save our dear country Afghanistan.
همین حالاتی که ما که امروز در جلسه وین آمدیم از نمایندگی شورای عالی نجات افغانستان از انقره صحبت میکنیم. البته وضعیتی که امروز در افغانستان داریم شرایط بسیار سختی است. این شرایط فعلی بسیار یک مشکلی هست که کل افغانا، کشور ما و شما تقریبا 6 میلیون افغانا در ایران مهاجر هستند، دیگه در پاکستان، دیگه در دنیای تا بتانیم که ما و شما کلگی مشترک، کل افغانایی که بزرگای افغاناست کشور افغانستان هستند، تا بتانیم که از این حالات باید این جلسه باید پیش بتانیم ببریم تا که این حالات نمیشه.
I am here as a representative of the National Council of Resistance for the Salvation of Afghanistan, based in Turkey. Unfortunately, the situation in Afghanistan is dire. It is deteriorating. Today, we have millions of refugees in dire situation in Iran and Pakistan and all over the world. It is a necessity to find the right path and solution for our country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali. And now, before I open the floor, I would like to ask for questions. I would like to ask you to identify yourself and also the medium that you are representing. So the floor is open. Please go ahead.
Matthias Röder, German Press Agency. You spoke about the roadmap and what is the progress you have made in terms of details of this roadmap? Is the unity getting better in the resistance, or what is the progress you have made?
It's a German newspaper? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, German. Almanya, بگم صاف خوب بشه. Regarding the question that you had about the roadmap, of course, as my colleagues today, they mentioned that there is a very dire situation, especially in the face of the confusion and also the confrontation of the world, and in many different areas of the world, that Afghanistan situation to almost becoming secondary. It is not a primary problem for the world, and the attention is not truly on Afghanistan, and the situation in Afghanistan is being forgotten to some extent. Therefore, we know that it is up to us, all of the people of Afghanistan, the opposition, to unite and to find a solution and to come up. And this is not something that Ahmad, Mas'ud or any other individual to come up with something and propose it. It's something that together and jointly we do it. And such process is an initiative, a beginning of a process to bring unity, and with collective work that we can even probably and hopefully to make the Taliban also to come to the table to talk, to for dialogue, to talk and to find truly a solution for the country. In this sense, the beginning of the work was a unity among all the groups who are not happy with the current situation. The first round of talk was understanding, and the second round of talk, it was for more unity and clarity and a teamwork. A group which was working as a team to work on a roadmap. They got all the ideas, they got all the sort of the papers and the plans, and they're working on it, and we're hoping that in the near future we will be able to publish it, and we will be able to share it with the world and with the people of Afghanistan about the vision and the plan and the roadmap that we have.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
اتریش جویا هستم از افغانستان اینترنشنال. سوال مشخص دارم از جناب آقای مسعود. دیر زمانی گفته میشه که جبهه مقاومت در افغانستان فعالیت‌هایی دارن و در این 2 سال گذشته هم نتونسته که حتی یک پلیس‌وزیر در افغانستان از کنترل طالبان خارج بکنه. و همچنان نظراتی هم هست که اختلاف نظر بین شما و کمانده که در افغانستان هست وجود داره. خواهش میکنم اگر ممکن هست به فارسی پاسخ بدید.
Just in
So
English.
the
Just in English for the colleagues.
asked the activities of the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, if the NRF has had any military achievements, especially taking over any districts and provinces.
تشکر از شما. در ارتباط سوال شما در قسمت اول باید گفت که قبلا هم گفته بودیم، در یک مرحله‌ای که مقاومت مردمی افغانستان و مقاومت ملی افغانستان بدون هیچ گونه وابستگی به هیچ کشور بیرونی یا به هیچ استخبارات و هیچ ظرفیت بیرونی، خالصانه از دل اراده مردم افغانستان در مقابل ظلم و توحش طالبان برخاسته، زمان میبره و زمان نیاز داره تا به دستاوردها برسه. و در این راستا ما باورمند ای بودیم که ما توانی ای که یک ولسوالی 2 ولسوالی رو بگیریم امکان پذیر بود، اما حفظ او با امکانات موجود و عدم حمایت جدی ما به یک ترتیب ممکن نبود. لذا تکتیک نظامی در مرحله اول تا رسیدن به او قوت قابل قبول و توانمندی قابل قبول که هم توان گرفتن و هم توان حفظ موجود باشه. شما شاهدی این بودین که در طول 2 سال گذشته برخلاف آنچه که ادعاها میشه، در قدم اول ادعا امی بود که جبهه وجود نداره، طالبان ما را جبهات فیسبوکی و رسانه‌ای میگفتن، جبهات فلان و بهمدان میگفتن. یک عده بر نفس موجودیت جبهه و نیروهای مقاومتگر اونا کاملا به یک ترتیب شک و شبهه داشتن. بسیار از اهل رسانه میگفت که والا شاید وجود نداشته باشه، اما شما شاهد بودین که در تمام مدت ما نیامدیم بگیم نه ما هستیم. ما منتظر زمانش بودیم و ثابت شد که نه تنها جبهه موجود است، بلکه جبهه قوی هم موجود است که طالب را وادار به لشکرکشی بالاتر از 20,000 نیرو در یک جغرافیای محدود به نام خوست و اندراب و بدخشان و پنجشیر و نقاط کرد. عین القیاسی که در او زمان for translation I can actually say it in English as well myself. I will do it at the end. I will do it in English as well. به همان گونه که در او زمان در قسمت، چون ایره من براتون میگم و ایره به مردم عزیز ما میگم که خوب متوجه شن، یکی از تکتیک های طالبا همیشه کوچک کردن و همیشه خرد ساختن طرف مقابلشان است. در دورانی که اونا در مقابل دولت مشروع اسلامی افغانستان مبارزه میکردن، نام او را گذاشته بودن با حمایت حامیان بیرونیشان اتحاد شمال، که بتانن احساسات مردم را بر بیانگیزن و این را به عنوان یک جنگ قومی نشان بدن که خدا را شکر ناکام مانده. در دوران 20 سال گذشته جمهوریت که استوار بر اراده مردم افغانستان، حمایت دنیا، یک دولت مشروع و نظام مشروع، این که چه بحران‌هایی را ما با او مواجه بودیم قصه جداست. انتخابات، قانون اساسی، نمادهای ملی و بسا موارد دیگه مسائل قبول شده مردم افغانستان بود که یک نظام آمده بود استوار شده بود. اما در تمام مدت طالبا نظام جمهوری اسلامی افغانستان چه صدا میکردن؟ اداره کابل. چرا؟ اما به انگلیسی داون پلینگ میگن، خردسازی، کوچک سازی. عالیم تلاشی که وجود داره بینمیز، جبهه وجود نداره، مقاومتی وجود نداره، ما حاکمیت مطلق هستیم، این جزء تکتیک طالب است. و آن چیزی که گفته میشه که اختلاف و تفاوت و این مسائل، به هیچ عنوان ما بیشتر از همیشه، محکمتر از همیشه، چه در قالب جبهه و مقاومت و چه در قالب ظرفیت‌های سیاسی که امروز شما می‌بینید، اتحاد مردم افغانستان با بیشتر شدن ظلم و توحش طالبانی بیشتر و محکمتر از قبل شده. در قسمت فعالیت‌ها هر چیز زمان و هر نکته مکانی داره. تشکر. And I'm going to say it in English as well to our friends in here. The question, as my colleague said, it was what was the achievement of resistance and what is happening now, basically. And the answer, I'm going to say it in a shorter version, so I'm not going to take many of your time. The resistance of Afghanistan came into existence after the brutality and after the Taliban's action. That they refused to talk, they refused the dialogue, and they brought war upon the people of Afghanistan. In this sense, we had no choice but to defend ourselves. Just the way that the people in Kobani, just the way that the people in Syria and Iraq, they defended their people against the brutality and against the tyranny of ISIS, we did the same thing against the Taliban, because they committed the same crime. They committed the same crimes against us. So we started the defending with no help from outside whatsoever. Not only that we did not receive the help, but we also faced a hypocrisy that we do not support an armed resistance, that it is acceptable till we were there, but after that we do not support it, which is a hypocrisy, and we call upon that hypocrisy and we do not support it. And this is the decision of people of Afghanistan to defend themselves against any tyranny. The achievement, this is an Afghan-led, and this is completely based on the generosity of people of Afghanistan with no support from outside. With such activity, just in the time that the people in Afghanistan, the time of jihad fought, it requires time, it requires experience. A government fell which was being supported by the world and was trillions of dollars. And something is being built from ground up. It takes time. And this is not our strategy to capture a district, because we know at this stage we do not have enough resources. Yes, we do have manpower, but not resources and equipment. We have enough to capture, but we do not have enough to keep. So because of this, our tactic is to get stronger and to challenge and to unite. And the second part of the question was about the unity. And as you see in Vienna, as you see in different parts of Afghanistan, as you see the reaction of people of Afghanistan toward the likes of my brother, Shahid Commander Amir, the likes of Qomandan Khairkhah, the likes of Qomandan Mujahid and Badakhshan, and the likes of those who fought and they got martyred in Nangarhar and Kandahar. You see the sort of the outrage of people to their support and their sort of condemnation of the Taliban. It shows the unity and the sort of people for the complete legitimate cause of the people, which was standing against the tyranny and authoritarianism.
Thank you.
Mr. Doctor,
Next question,
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Doctor.
please.
Okay. I will ask in Farsi because our audience.
In Farsi?
Yes. Yeah. Is it okay? Yeah. I have a question of Mr. Masud and also Dr. Alia Yilmaz. Miss Dr. Yilmaz, در این 20 ماه گذشته مبارزات زنان افغانستان در کنار مبارزات نظامیان و جبهات نظامی بخشی از کاری بود که از رسمیت شناسی طالبان جلوگیری کرد. ولی رفتار طالبان، رفتار خشونتبار طالبان منجر شد بسیاری از زنان به زندان کشانده شوند، اسیر شوند، شکنجه شوند و منجر به پراکندگی مبارزات زنان شد. آیا مبارزات زنان در داخل افغانستان پایان یافته یا ادامه دارد؟ و از جناب آقای مسعود سوالی دارم در مورد دور نخست نشست وین در مورد افغانستان. در قطعنامه دور نخست آمده بود که یکی از مواردی که اشتراک کنندگان روی آن به توافق رسیدند حمایت از جبهات نظامی به ویژه مبارزانی است که علیه طالبان می‌جنگند و می‌رزمند. ولی این اتفاق نیفتاد. هیچ حمایتی از این آدرس ها دریافت نشد، مخصوصا از آدرس احزاب سیاسی که اشتراک کننده نشست هستند. چرا این اتفاق نیفتاد و آیا این امید وجود داره که در بعد از نشست کنونی این اتفاق بیفته؟
تشکر. ما قبل از اینکه به سوال شما بپردازیم یک تصویر کوچکی از وضعیت زنان در افغانستان باید داشته باشیم. زنان افغانستان البته به مجادله تاریخیشان از سالها قبل شروع کرده بودند، ولی امروز که به شکل بسیار تحقیرآمیز یک سرنوشت را در افغانستان تجربه میکنن، تازه شروع کار است. در مجادله‌ای که شروع کردن هنوز آغاز راه است.
So I have to summarize that our struggle has been going on for 20 years, but the current struggle that we have is still young, facing the current situation, and it certainly needs time for us to strengthen it.
And to clarify this struggle, the question was about the woman.
Yes.
The woman's struggle, and the answer is about the woman's struggle, which is going on for many decades, and for supported women.
یکی از احکامی که طالبان در مقابل زنان صادر کرده بودی به عنوان مثال میخوایم بگویم، زنان اصلا در احکامی که اونها صادر کرده بودن وجود خارجیشان قابل قبول برای طالبان نیست. به عنوان مثال یکی از احکامشان امی بود که وقتی زنان یک جرم را مرتکب میشن محرمشان قابل جزا هست.
So when it comes to the Taliban's rulings in regards to women, unfortunately the Taliban do not recognize any role for women in the outside sphere, in public life. Public life, and unfortunately
حکمی را که در قبال زنان صادر کرده بودن وجود خارجی زنان برشان قابل قبول نیست، یعنی زنان را به عنوان یک انسان قبول ندارن.
They do not accept women as human beings. They do not accept women having a public life, having any role outside of their homes.
البته همه چیزها امروز در اینجا قابل تشریح نیست، ولی حادثاتی که در افغانستان در مقابل زنان جریان داره به صورت مطلق یک جندر آپارتاید است.
Unfortunately, the current situation that has unfolded in Afghanistan is basically a gender apartheid.
ولی حرکاتی را که امروز به اساس یک ضرورت ایجاد شده باید برنامه محور ساخت. یعنی هر حرکتی که برنامه محور نبود رفته رفته به خاموشی سپرده میشه.
So these steps that we've taken and our actions have to be based on programs, on a program. It has to be programmatic.
البته این حرکات با اهداف استراتژیک در صورت امکان کار روی یک مانیفست سیاسی در ساحه زنان قابلیت استمرار را دارد.
And for us to continue these steps and these actions strategically, it will need the women's resistance will need a manifesto of its own.
زنان افغانستان امروز در سطح بین المللی میدانید که به صورت که لازم هست حمایت نمیشن. مثلا نمونه آخرش و نمونه بارزش را شما در این پروسه دوحه که در هفته آینده قرار است برگزار شود میبینید. زنان افغانستان حق دارند در سرنوشتی که برای خودشان تعیین میشه صاحب سخن باشند و در اینجا برشان باید وقت داده شود در مورد سرنوشتی که برای اونا چیده شده تصمیم بگیرند.
Unfortunately, the women's struggle and the women's resistance do not receive enough international support and assistance from the international community. And one example is the Doha conference that will be held next week. Unfortunately, women do not have a voice. Women do not have the ability to determine their future, to raise their plight at the moment.
این برای ما بسیار زیاد اسفبار بود که امی برنامه سازمان ملل متحد از زبان یک زن که باید به صورت مطلق در حمایت زنان قرار می داشت، امین محمد در قبال بررسمیت شناختن طالبان و یا در قبال شرایط حاضر که یک پلتفرم برشان آزاد شود صحبت شد.
It is very unfortunate that the Doha conference's agenda that was raised by a woman, Amina Mohammed, that the agenda is to recognize the Taliban or to find a way to recognize the Taliban. It was very unfortunate that this came from a woman.
به عنوان یک جواب روشن‌تر من میتونم مثال بزنم. امروز زنایی که در گروه‌های مختلف مثلا در جبهه مقاومت ملی شورای زنان ایجاد شد، در شورای عالی نجات کمیته زنان ایجاد شد، ائتلاف بزرگ زنان را شما می‌بینید. البته بر اساس امکاناتی که دارن در جاهای مختلف حرکت زنان جریان داره. ما امیر می‌خوایم زیرش خط کشیده شود که حرکت زنان برای دادخواهی امروز برای استحقاق کوچکی که هر انسان باید از او برخوردار باشه نیست. مجادله زنان مجادله هویتشان است. امروز زنان در افغانستان برای مجادله هویتشان پرداختند. بنابراین این مجادله ادامه خواهد داشت.
I have to emphasize that the struggle of women in Afghanistan is for their identity. This is something that I have to stress and emphasize on. But I have to point as well that there has been positive steps and achievements. One is the Women's Council of the National Resistance Front, the Women's Committee of the National Council for Resistance, and many actions and other steps that have been taken.
تشکر از میدیوم تشکر میکنیم که با پوشش مثبتشان این حرکت زنان تقویت میبخشند.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donald.
Hi, thank you. I'm Lino Donald from Foreign Policy. Hi. I'd like to ask your comment, please, on the current situation that has forced UNAMA to reassess its role in Afghanistan. Do you see UNAMA as part of the problem? And what do you think would happen if UNAMA scaled down or even removed its presence in Afghanistan? And aside from that, what measures do you think could be taken by the UN, by the international community, that would effectively pressure the Taliban to improve its behaviour and its treatment of Afghan people generally and women in particular?
Sure. Thank you very much. Welcome here. And to answer that question, it's a very difficult one because let me, as behalf of all my colleagues, I would like to express my gratitude to all those brave UN workers who are putting their life in danger in the current situation, and they are working tirelessly in Afghanistan. As an instant, I'm saying to all of you to understand the bravery of such people, that, for example, in Ghor, when they went to talk to the governor of Ghor, that you are stealing the aid which UN is providing, stop it. The governor of Ghor turns to them and says, I will murder and terrorize every single of you UN workers here, and then even if the Amir is going to kill me, I don't care. So it shows the day-to-day struggle that they're facing. However, I know this is a very difficult situation, but unfortunately, we all must address this, that this is not the fault of people of Afghanistan. We were left behind. We were being betrayed. Because the people of Afghanistan in here in conference today, very clearly and vividly, the members they mentioned, the people of Afghanistan did not fail democracy. They went and they voted, they stood for the values, the women, they raised their voice, and we had achievements in the past 20 years, which sometimes we overlook. But unfortunately, because of the political decisions, everything was being lost. So to answer the questions, yes, I understand the current situation, and I don't think that leaving Afghanistan is a good choice. I do not recommend it. I know that the stopping or basically spending $40 million every day that we know with some evidence that unfortunately a portion of it or some portion of it, it is being abused by the Taliban. However, still, even a portion of it which is going to the poor people of Afghanistan, we appreciate it. So we want the UN mission to continue in Afghanistan. However, because of basically overcoming such some issues, to go and recognize Taliban, it is the consolidation of all those problems. So it is going to be even a worse decision. So therefore, our request and our belief is that the UN should continue their mission despite all the hardship, and all of those freedom fighters, all those political opposition, all those people from Afghanistan, we are willing to participate and help in any way or by any means to facilitate and ease the work of the UN. However, the recognition or even thinking about such initiative, it is going to be a nail to the coffin of the people of Afghanistan, the freedom, the democracy. And that little hope and that little respect which is left for international community, especially UN and Afghanistan, all of that will be gone. And you saw the outrage of people when such comment was being made. So therefore, they can be a part of the solution. I don't think they are a part of the problem. However, they can be a part of the solution. However, the solution is not through such comments or such actions.
Thank you. Please.
یک سوال خانون
This,
Can I have the
yes,
microphone,
please.
There is not a microphone.
صدا شنیده می
Okay, okay.
You have to speak up.
So first of all, I welcome everybody to Vienna, especially Ahmad, Mas'ud. I'm from Oxus TV. My name is Tanya Kayhan. My question is from you, Mr. Mas'ud. Some people close to the National Resistance Front accuses NRF of exclusivity, or in another way, can I say, monopolizing the power. One of its examples is Sabghatullah Ahmadi, NRF's press officer, who resigned a while ago. My question to you is, how can the resistance front can gain the support of a lot of people in this way and fight against the Taliban? Thank you.
I will answer shortly, but آقای اینجا شما یک مداخله میکنید. سوال خواهر ما این بود که دیگه یک سلسله اتهامات نسبت به جبهه مقاومت است که انحصارگرایی اتفاق افتیده و این مسائل و اینکه آیا ما به طرف انحصارگرایی و انحصار قدرت میریم جبهه مقاومت یا برخلاف.
اتهام زنی در فرهنگ عمومی افغان‌ها به استناد صحبت کردن مرسوم شده. اگر با دید باز به روند مقاومت ملی افغانستان نگاه کنید، نه شعارهایش، نه اندیشه‌هایش و نه عملکردهایش قومی نبوده، سیاسی نبوده، مربوط به منطقه نبوده. ملت افغانستان از فرمانده مقاومت جناب آقای احمد مسعود و عملکرد ایشان و همکارانشان در جبهات بارها شنیدن و دیدن که مقاومت متعلق به ملت افغانستان است، برای آزادی افغانستان است. ایشان و مقاومتگرای ما گفتن که ما برای یک دره مبارزه نمی‌کنیم و ما در جایگاه دین مبارزه کردن به یک دره را گناه می‌دانیم. اما این فراموش نکنیم که یک روند اجتماعی، یک روند سیاسی ریزش داره و رویش داره. قطار مقاومت حرکت کرده. شاید کسایی به این قطار ملحق شوند، شاید کسایی از این قطار پیاده شوند، اما اراده ملت افغانستان، اراده مقاومتگرای افغانستان، از پشتون، از هزاره، از تاجک، از ازبک، برای است که تا آزادی افغانستان، تا تامین استقلال افغانستان، تا تامین عدالت در افغانستان دوش همدیگر قرار بگیرن و یک نمونهش شما در کادر رهبری جبهه ملی مقاومت می‌بینید و طبیعتاً هیچ کار معصوم نیست، اون فعلگاه نیست و افکار عمومی، رسانه‌ها، شفافیت میتونه نقایص ما را، کمبودهای ما را و ما بگه و ما بتونیم انشالله به طرف تکاملی روند انشالله حرکت بکنیم.
فقط همه قدر اضافه میکنم، آن چیزی که در ارتباط انحصارگرایی است، ما به خاطر قدرت مبارزه نمیکنیم، ما به خاطر آزادی مبارزه میکنیم و به خاطر آزادی هر کس در هر گوشه‌ای که مبارزه را ادامه بدن خوش آمدن و تلاش های چون این تلاش ها که ما بدون در نظر گرفتن هیچ مسئله فقط به دنبال هستیم و میدانیم که مشکل افغانستان توسط یک فرد، یک گروه، یک قوم حل نمیشه، بلکه همه افغانستان باید که در مبارزه شهیم و شریک و سهیم باشند. و در قسمت خود ظرفیت جبهه مقاومت شما فقط رجوع بکنین به تشکیلات. اگر آن چیزی که به عنوان انحصار گفته میشه در تشکیلات شما دیدید واسه اون تشکر.
Okay, thank you. First, Mr. Kabuli stated that, of course, making accusations is something very normal in Afghanistan, especially it not being proven. Just looking at the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan's actions, goals, and vision shows inclusivity. That resistance, which the leader of the National Resistance Front has stated many times, and as it has been stated by others as well, is for all of Afghanistan. It is for freedom and nothing more than that. Resistance has shown that it has been able to represent different segments of the population, different ethnic groups, religious groups, women and men since it started. And Mr. Massoud also clarified that just looking and analyzing the NRF's overall structure, one can certainly see inclusivity and representation from all groups.
Okay, Mr. Ali Ahmad.
Hi. My question is about the roadmap. What have you foreseen, or what the Vienna conference has foreseen, the role of the regional countries, and especially the formation of the new alliances of Iran and Saudi Arabia, and also the other regional countries that are getting closer to the Taliban. So if you could elaborate on the role of the regional countries in your roadmap, and have you attempted to engage with the regional countries? And in Europe, I know Austria has taken the first step to convene this conference. Some bigger countries in EU, like for example Germany, what do you expect that they should do to help you and to unify the opposition to the Taliban? Thank you.
May I just clarify, this is not Austria which is organizing this conference. There's no official organizer in this conference. This is a private initiative which is supported by an NGO. So that's just not to bring the Austrian government into any difficulties.
Well, to answer your question regarding the regional rule and the European, our message, we must understand one thing is that understand the circumstances that the regional countries are at. And one of the messages of the first Vienna conference in the declaration was understanding the regional countries' positions and also their importance. Regarding situation in Afghanistan, that in any roadmap for the future, their role is very much important. I give you an example that in Bonn conference in 2001, one of the reasons that the Bonn conference in 2001 was very successful, it was the constructive role of the regional powers at that time. And one of the reasons that the Doha in 2021 was not successful, it was the not constructive role in that part, or at least I know the deal was between just America and the Taliban, that even Afghan people, they were completely overlooked. So therefore, it is very important to understand the role. However, their engagement and their relationship and their sort of behavior toward Taliban or with Taliban, it is of a question, and the history will tell, but our sort of message is very clear. Any engagement with the Taliban, on tactical level, it is understandable because the Taliban are using hostage tactics. They're holding basically the regional terrorist groups as hostage group and using it as a sort of a fear tactic. If you do not engage with me, I will release, for example, your terrorist groups to attack you. So we understand such initiatives and such tactics. However, on a strategic level, then that is something that only must be done with a legitimate government of Afghanistan that the Taliban are not. So therefore, in that case, the people of Afghanistan will not forget. Regarding the Europe, the same thing applies. We understand some concerns, we understand some engagement to help the people of Afghanistan or for security reasons. However, it is very important once again to understand that the Taliban do not represent people of Afghanistan. They are not a legitimate government. They came in power through the battle of gun, and they are showing zero sort of chance in changing their behavior or opening up to dialogue and talk or going toward a process to bring legitimate government. And also the Taliban have broken every rule in the charter of the UN. So when we are facing with such a group, it is very difficult to deal with. So our suggestion and advice, once again, at the end of the day, it is their decision. And I told you that with the confusion and the confrontation in the world, we believe that it is up to Afghans to come up with a plan with the help and support. However, we urge them to stand with the people and support initiative which has the support of people of Afghanistan.
Thank you.
Salam.
ما مسئول بانو هستم و شما یک سوال دارم به خاطر شما مسئول کشتن که ما با همه کار میکنیم یا همه زمان انقلاب زنان افغانستان در ویانا 11 مارچ
شما مسئول زن هستین؟
من از چیز هستم از مدیر مسئول مجری بودم.
خب درست.
خود میشناسید خبر دارید.
یک خواستم یک شفافیت چیز شد ذهن دوستان مخصوص شده.
انقلاب زنان افغانستان در ویانا ما هم کلی که دعوت کردیم شما سام نگرفتید جبهه سام نگرفت. داله که خبر داشت از جبهه و این انقلاب بسیار بزرگ بود و سرتاسر اروپا و آمریکا آمده بود. همه حمایت کردن انقلاب زنان را برای از جبهه صدای نبود و هیچ کس شرکت نکرد پیام نداد. یک روز تظاهرات بود، یک روز دو کنفرانس بود. فراون رو بلیسولی ویانا 11 مارس. ما سوال دارم که تنها با بخش جبهه کار میکنید است که با کل مردم افغانستان پیشتر شما در صحبتاتون فهمیدم. اما این میخوایم که بازیش برنامه شده انقلاب زنان شما حمایت نکردید.
Thank you.
The question,
maybe the question briefly.
Sure. So he asked why the NRF did not support or participate in the women's demonstration in Vienna in March, and what are your views about it, and what is the reason for not participating?
تشکر از سوالتان. اول من بسیار واضح خدمتتون میگم متاسفانه ما خبر نبودیم، شاید که اعضای خبر بوده و تقصیر بوده از یکی انتقال بکنه، علل خصوص که ما در یک مرحله بازبینی و بازسازی دوباره به یک ترتیب جبهه، برنامه ها، تشکیلات و ساختارها و یک اصلاحات کلان در داخل جبهه هستیم. در اینکه در این راستای پیام به ما نرسیده و تصمیم گرفته نشده، صادقانه در حضور همه ما از شما معذرت میخوایم. ان شاء الله دیگه اتفاق نمیفته.
6 ماه ما اعلان کردیم بعد 6 ماه کلی خبر داریم.
اینو
شما کلش خبر داریم.
اینو ما میره ان شاء الله دیگه تکرار با همین صراحت و وضاحت.
So,
Okay, please, just very briefly.
so His Excellency's explanation was that we were not aware. Unfortunately, we did not receive any message or invitation, and we apologize for that.
Okay, then maybe in English.
Meine Frage richtet an Sie. Man kann sich auf die Weltpolitik nicht verlassen. Nehmen wir so an, dass die Taliban anerkannt wird und eines Tages kommt hin, wird den Botschafter übernehmen. Wie fühlt sich an, wenn die Taliban hier sitzt und abgesehen von ihrem Turban und Aussehen, aber mit ihrer Ideologie einmal nach Europa kommen? Und was denken die europäische Gesellschaft, vor allem österreichische Gesellschaft, dass die Welt einfach sich so umspielt?
Also wenn die Frage mich an sich bin ich, I'm here not to answer questions, but I can answer just my personal opinion. First of all, I believe this meeting here, the first and the second, is a clear indication there are people in Europe like us who want to help those Afghans who feel betrayed by the international community or Europe and the United States in the first place. And secondly, I do not believe that, unlike Norway, we are not going to receive the Taliban as long as these human rights abuses are taking place. That's the simple answer.
Sie haben gerade erwähnt, dass diese Veranstaltung wird von einem privaten Institut veranstaltet. Und Sie haben gesagt, dass vielleicht Österreich schon Probleme. Was ist diese Probleme, falls die österreichische Regierung solche Situationen? Also
I'm not representing the Austrian government, so I'm representing myself and the group which is trying to support those democratic forces assembled here. And therefore we created this venue, so to speak, and this opportunity so that the democratic opposition in exile now can unite and have a base from which it can operate in a democratic way. We are very much in support of a political solution. And this is actually what we're doing here, a neutral ground in Austria as a neutral country in the European Union. Thank you.
مایک توضیح میتونم فراموش نکنیم که مبارزه با تروریسم یک رسالت جهانی و انسانی است. ما با غرب، ما با همسایه ها در گذشته تجربه مشترک مبارزه علیه تروریسم و افراطگرایی را داشتیم. فراموش نکنیم که ایرانی ها، امریکایی ها، روس ها در ادعایشان بر مبارزه با تروریسم در سوریه و در عراق با هم جنگیدن علیه تروریسم. در مقاومت اول روس ها، ایرانی ها، امریکایی ها و بعضی کشورهای منطقه در مبارزه علیه تروریسم کنار ملت افغانستان اثبات شدند. اتحادیه اروپا شریک مطمئن ملت افغانستان، دولت جمهوری افغانستان در دوره جمهوریت در مبارزه با افراطگرایی و تروریسم و قطعاً طالبان نه تنها دشمن ملت افغانستان بلکه دشمن ارزش‌های مشترک ملت افغانستان و اتحادیه اروپا هم هست و یک رسالت را دوباره تجدید میکنه و تاکید میکنه هم بر همسایه‌های ما و هم بر اتحادیه اروپا که فراموش نکنیم ما در یک مبارزه علیه تروریسم موفق بودیم، باز هم میتونیم علیه تروریسم مشترک فکر بکنیم و مشترک عمل کنیم.
I just want to give a short explanation that our fight against international terrorism, regional international terrorism, has always been a global struggle and cause. We have had instances in the past, for example, in the 1990s, the US, Russia, Iran, and many other regional countries were united against international terrorism. The same, we see it opposing sides in Syria, where, for example, the United States or the West and Iran were against terrorism. We're fighting the same terror forces. Once again, in Afghanistan, we can unite, the world, the globe can unite against international terrorism, which is against everyone.
Thank you, Matt. Please go ahead.
ما وحیده پیکان از افغانستان اینترنشنال هستم. آقای مسعود، من یک سوال تنها از شما دارم و خواهش میکنم به فارسی جواب بدید که آدینس در افغانستان است. نه شرق نه غرب از جبهه شما حمایت میکنند. در این صورت چشمانداز پیروزی را چقدر روشن می‌بینید؟
به روشنی اون چراغ پشت سرتان.
Just briefly.
The lady said I wanted to ask my question in Farsi and I want an answer in Farsi. With the current situation where neither the West nor the East is supporting your resistance, how feasible is victory? How possible is victory?
در جواب سوال شما باید دیره بگیم که اما لحظه‌ای که تصمیم به این شد که در کنار مردم خود بمانیم، در طول 1.5 سال 2 سال گذشته هیچ منطقه و چه بسا کشورهای تاثیرگذار در قسمت افغانستان چه با اروپا و چه با منطقه نمانده بود که ما صحبت نکنیم و خطر سقوط برشان گوشزد نکنیم. کامل با آگاهی کاملی را میفهمیدیم که نه شرق کمک میکنه نه. دو راه داشتیم. یک زندگی ذلتبار، اسیر با از دست دادن همه ارزش ها. یک جنگ فاجعه بار به خاطر ارزش ها. بسیار انتخاب ساده. و این انتخاب در پیش روی مردم خود گذاشته. مردم ما انتخاب کردن به خاطر ارزش ها حتی اگر کوتاه زندگی بکنن. با او خاطر در طول 20 سال گذشته ما مبارزه کردیم، تلاش کردیم، اما اتکای خود را به عنوان یک ملت نسبت بیشتر برده بودیم روی کمک خارجی و اما قدرت آتش تفنگ. اما این بار اتکای خود را مثل دوران جهاد، مثل دوران مقاومت آوردیم پس دوباره به دو عنصر اصلی که به اون باور داریم، خدا و مردم. تشکر.
Could you repeat it in English?
In English, yeah, sure. The question, my colleague translated it. Before going to the Panjshir Valley as the last place which was still not conquered by the Taliban, to stand against the Taliban, we knew clearly, because I had been traveling before that for the past 2 years before, prior to the collapse on 15th of August, with the meetings in the West, with the meetings in the region, with the talking to Americans, with the talking to many people near and far, I reached to this conclusion categorically that because of changes in the world politics and changes in the regional games, we are completely alone and abandoned by the region and by the world, and we have nothing. So we had two options: a disastrous war but based on principles and values, or a sort of giving up everything and being sort of a prisoner to the Taliban, losing all, even those principles. We told our people about these options and we proposed this to them, and the people decided to live, even if it's for the short time, even if it's against all odds, even if it's against with no help from outside, but to live, even if it's short, with principle, than living under the tyranny and under the authoritarian regime of the Taliban, losing all principles and all rights. However, I need to emphasize that at the beginning we tried every way to talk and speak with the Taliban, but unfortunately Taliban categorically denounced any talk, didn't want to talk, and just wanted to surrender. And we always, in the past 20 years, we relied more on the external sort of elements, what the world would do, and also what, do not worry, it's just the supporter of the conference and the people, the voices that you may hear. And so it is the element of the external support from outside world, and also to the firepower. But we forgot that the people of Afghanistan, before that, in the first resistance, and also and during the time of jihad, they were in exactly the same situation as we have been. But they had to support God and the people of Afghanistan. Yes, we are alone, but we are relying on our God, the Creator, and also we are relying on our people. Thank you.
Inshallah. Please.
Kiko French news agency AFP. I have two.
AFP?
AFP, yes. I have two quick questions. Like one, what is your assessment of the news that broke overnight that allegedly Taliban forces have killed the ISIS mastermind behind the Kabul bombing in 2021? What is your assessment of that? Is it going to be? Does it change anything, or does it legitimize them more even? That is the first question. The second question is, what do you expect to come out from the Doha conference that is going to be convened next week? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
The second part of question, I would like to ask my colleague Dr. Saif Ilmaz to answer. The first part.
Yeah.
Completely tactical. Why now? Just the way unfortunately in the world scene, the killing of Osama bin Laden, the killing of al-Baghdadi, the killing of Ayman al-Zawahiri is, to some extent, of course, it was a security concern. At the same time, it was a very good thing as a campaign strategy. This is the same thing, that just showing, oh, we killed the mastermind. Who knows who was the mastermind, right? First. And second thing is that both have the same ideology. They say we killed the ISKP, we say we killed the ISIS. I ask all of you, this is a challenge. What activity the Taliban do not do that the ISIS does, which makes ISIS more extremist than the Taliban? The Taliban at this stage, they're just proposing themselves, showing themselves to be sort of like, working and operating only within the border of Afghanistan. ISIS is saying, no, we want to take it further. That is the only difference. And just because the ISIS is wanting to bring it to you, to others, it is not acceptable. It is good to fight against them. But when the others are doing this same activities and behavior to my people, it is acceptable? So no, that's just tactical. That is just the way they announced, for example, last year, a fatwa by their Amir against the cultivation and the grow of opium. It only didn't help, but it actually produced it much more and make it more systematic. And it created a much worse situation. It is again the same tactic. It's a tactic to change the opinion of the world. It is a tactic to basically to have some impact on the Doha, which I hope not, because ISIS and the Taliban behavior, tactic, mentality, unfortunately, are identical. It's two sides of one coin. Thank you.
Please, Mr.
اون قسمی که میدانید امروز کریز افغانستان را اگر بخوایم مطالعه بکنیم در سه بود. یکی مسئله داخلی خود افغانستان است، یکی مسئله منطقوی و در بود کشورهای بزرگ، قدرت‌های بزرگ به مطالعه بگیریم.
If we study the history of Afghanistan, we will certainly ascertain that it's a domestic problem. At the same time, it has its global and regional dimensions.
در بود داخلی هرج و مرجی که امروز در داخل افغانستان وجود داره، همگی شاهد از او است. افغانستان امروز تنها کشوری است که قانون اساسی ندارد، یک نظام ندارد. به خاطر کریزی که در داخل افغانستان جریان داره، همه کشورهایی که در دور برش است و کشورهای جهان را حتی متاثر می‌سازد.
Domestically, as you may see, Afghanistan might be the only country that lacks a set of laws and rules. It lacks a constitution, and of course, this will have its negative impact on neighboring countries as well.
ما میتونیم از مسئله قاچاق، از مسئله تروری که پیشتر بحث شد، از مسئله خب کوچی که امروز به کریز مطلق هم در بین خود افغانستانی و هم در کشورهای دور بر مبدل شده به کریز صحبت بکنیم.
And as you may see, whether it's the drug trafficking, whether it's terrorism, and many other problems, we have to take all of this into consideration.
بنابراین حدس میره که ملل متحد اگر برنامه روی موضوعاتی که امروز در افغانستان جریان داره به بررسی گرفته میشه، البته این نشست ها در نظر گرفته میشه. به نظر ما نشست هایی که به این منوال ادامه پیدا میکنن البته بود مثبت و منفی خود داره، ولی آنچه که در شروع بیرون آمد متاسفانه از اخبار بود. امروز صدای که در بیرون از افغانستان در مقابل طالبان، گروه هایی که در مقابل طالبان ارزاندام کرده، صدای واحد هم تشکیل دادن در برابر از این گفتمان.
Such meetings and gatherings might have its pros and cons that we can analyze, but having a joint voice, having a common voice against the Taliban is the biggest achievement that we've had.
البته نسل امروز به اندازه روشن شدن و از تجربیات گذشته خود آموختن، صدا بلند میکنن. اینمی صدا بلند کردن هاست که در مقابل یک حق تلفی که در قبال تصمیمات در مورد سرنوشت افغانستان صورت میگیره استفاده میکنن.
Just to give an example, the youth today, they have learned from experience, they have learned from the past, and they are raising their voices today, especially to the decisions that are being made for their country.
مثلا پیشتر از حرکت زنان مثال زدیم، میرم بخوام دوباره تاکید کنم سرش، به خاطر اینکه امروز یک مجادله برحق و مجادله واقعا با شکوه زنان افغانستان به عهده دارن و در قبال نشست دوم گروه‌های تشکیل شده که در مورد پروتست و اقدامات لازم را انجام دادن.
And once again, I would like to state the example of the women's struggle, that this struggle that has been going on for more than 2 years now is not being taken into consideration, especially as you have seen in Doha, and it basically lacks the representation and participation of these women.
البته نظریات گروه را در اعلامیه این نشست شما میتونید بخونید.
And of course you can read our joint stance and position in regards to all of this in the declaration that was read today.
Thank you very much. Two last questions. Carlotta Gard, the New York Times, please.
Thank you. A question perhaps for Mr. Massoud, but anyone else. Since last year, the Taliban seems to be doubling down, seem to be getting stricter. Your position seems to straddle both political strand and military. You've admitted the military is not really going anywhere. Have you changed your view in how to engage with the Taliban, how to change? It looks increasingly difficult for you. Thank you.
Sure. To clarify one thing, Carlotta, is that we didn't say that our resistance effort, politically and militarily, it is not going anywhere. It is going somewhere, but with different tactics and by time. Because, as I mentioned to you, the lack of resources. We do have manpower. We have thousands of former Afghan forces which are ready to join. But the lack of resources, the lack of opportunities, because when we speak of Taliban, you all know that the Taliban had a lot of backings from the region. And when we speak in the time of the jihad, at the time of the jihad, all the 7 jihadi groups were being based in Pakistan, and the Pakistan was basically supporting as a channel to Afghanistan. The whole world was supporting the people of Afghanistan. So at this time, the people of Afghanistan are truly alone. When we are alone, and we know we are alone, we know, and we are not living in a dream that some angel or Messiah is going to come and support and help us. We know it, but we are fighting for ourselves. It's going to take time. When there is no support, it's going to take time. About the shifting, one thing is that I need to clarify this as clear as I can. Or as Brits say, crystal clear. That we are always ready for dialogue, for talk, for negotiation. No one should take this in any wrong way that, oh, we are a group completely focused on militarily activities or just being sort of an opposition with no door or window open to talk. We are ready to talk. I have spoken with Mr. Muttaqi in Tehran. Our delegation talked to them in Charikar. And we were even ready to meet with them in Moscow with Mullah Baradar and the rest. And even I was ready to accept their delegations in different countries. But it is the Taliban, after their few encounters with us, which they noticed that their requests are unacceptable in their narrative, their logic. It is going to even ruin wherever they go, because the logic of the opposition is much higher. It's a whole complete different sort of a level, because it represents the people, but they don't. So because of this, the Taliban are actually in a much sort of a weak point when it comes to the dialogue and talk. We are always ready, in front of the press, behind the doors, but for the sake of Afghanistan, to talk with the Taliban, to speak with them, if they are ready for a peaceful talk. And also I mentioned it yesterday, I want to say it again in here. Our struggle, to make it very short, it is for the people of Afghanistan to decide for their own future. The moment the Taliban say, yes, we accept election, of course under the watch of UN and the world, in that moment, we will cease all activity and go and join the election. But the people must decide. And one thing, once again, I need to emphasize, about the UN, about the participation of UN, about the world trying to engage. I put this question to all those countries with dignity, with honor, and with self-respect. Do you want your people or yourself, whoever is engaging with the Taliban or trying to say, oh, this is the reality of Afghanistan, do you want your woman, do you want your children, do you want yourself to live under such life, under such regime, in such condition, that you are advising us to not to change it or to accept it as the reality of Afghanistan? That is not the reality of Afghanistan. So because of this, we are ready to talk. If the Taliban are ready to talk, if they are ready to negotiate, if they are ready to change, the first declaration of Vienna was very clear about it. The second is also very clear about it. The doors for talk and negotiation are never closed. It was never closed in the time of my father, nor it is now. However, the Taliban, so far, they show they don't care to what the world says. They don't care to what the region says. They don't care to what the people of Afghanistan say. So we have no choice but to defend ourselves. And we know we need to get united, and we are able to change that. And we will change it, inshallah.
یک توضیح من در آخر برنامه داشته باشم که ما در روند ویونا، ما ملت افغانستان در جبهه مقاومت یا در جبهات مقاومت قبل از اینکه یک جریان سیاسی یا نظامی علیه یک رقیب سیاسی نظامی خود باشیم، ما یک قرائت هستیم. در دل قرائت‌ها یک قرائت و یک روایت در برابر یک قرائت. اونچه که ما به عنوان نخبگان افغانستان به دنیا می‌خوایم مخابره کنیم است که قرائت طالبان، فارغ ساختان امنیتی و پیچیده طالبان، قرائت طالبان یک قرائت غیر عقلانی، غیر اجتهادی و عقل ستیز است. با قرائت طالبان یک دولت مدرن شکل نمیگیره. با دولت طالبان و قرائت طالبان حقوق اساسی انسان‌ها به رسمیت شناخته نمیشه. با قرائت طالبان یک دولت مدرن پاسخگوی قانونمند تأسیس نخواهد شد. فراموش نکنید که طالب‌ها بر اساس قرائت فنتیکی که از متن مقدس دارند، تنوع مذهبی رو به رسمیت نمیشناسند. در افغانستان طالبان علیه همه اقوام، علیه همه ظرفیت‌ها، به ویژه علیه شیعیان مظالم فراوان ایجاد کردند. به شفاخانه‌های ما حمله کردند. زنان ما را در زایشگاه در دشت برچی شهید کردند. اطفال نوزاد ما را در دشت برچی شهید کردند. بر ورزشگاه‌های ما و کلب‌های ورزشی ما حمله کردند. و تفکر مولا محمد عمر، تفکر مولا هیبت الله، تفکر حاکم بر قرائت مذهبی جریان طالب‌ها حذف کامل شیعیان از تمام اساهای سیاسی اجتماعی است. ما در طالبان پس از سقوط جمهوریت شاهد هستیم که شیعیان در بامیان اجازه آموزش مذهبی، تحقیق مذهبی را ندارند. به او حداقل‌ها هم که وعده کرده بودند اینا عمل نکردند. و لذا ما از جهان می‌خواهیم که قرائتی که از اون یک دولت مدرن تأسیس نمیشه، یک دولت مسئول و پاسخگو به وجود نمیاد و تا زمانی که طالب از این قرائت دست نکشه. بله ما بارها گفتیم وقتی طالب از این قرائت دست کشید با دیگه طالب نمیمونه، یک شهروند معمولی مثل ما میشه. ما در جبهه مقاومت ملی افغانستان، ما در روند ویانا، ما در عنوان مخالفان طالب‌ها معتقد هستیم که متنی را، قرائتی را از اسلام به رسمیت میشناسیم که حقوق شهروندی و اساسی انسان معاصر را به رسمیت بشناسه و قانون اساسی تنظیم بکنه که با حقوق اساسی شهروندها، هندو، مسلمان، مسیحی، یهودی تضاد نداشته باشد و یک دولت مسئول پاسخگوی را در کابل تأسیس کنه. تشکر.
Make it short. We in the Vienna conference, in the NRF and other opposition groups that have gathered today, we have our own doctrine. However, the irrational doctrine that the Taliban have will not result into a legitimate government, into a accountable government. To just give an example for all of you today, the plight of the Shiite minority is one example in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. The Shiites basically have no rights. They cannot teach or learn their jurisprudence and other teachings, whether it's in schools or other places. Their hospitals and other institutions are being targeted. They are being oppressed. But what we propose is much greater. We recognize the civil rights of all citizens in Afghanistan, the equal rights of all citizens of whatever background that they are. And we are here to realize that and to bring an end to the current situation.
Thank you.
We have the last question from Commander Hazrat Ali.
Very last question now. You already had one question. Okay, then I think we should conclude this press conference. And I thank you very much, and I thank the panelists here for attending and speaking out in favor and for Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tashakkur Hassan. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.